This is more of a PSA to my Jets brethren. So it's coming from a different place. All right? Now, I've got to preface it with before I get to a couple things here. You know I love emotion.
Yep.
Tiki knows this.
No
Worked
doubt.
together 10 years.
Which is why I was entertained by your,
I hear
emotional
you.
response
I
to
get it.
Tyreek Hill going to the
I get
Dolphins.
it, buddy. I get it. Emotion fuels me.
Yep.
It always has. Hasn't always positioned me in the right spot, but it's fueled me, right?
It's all good. It's you.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not alone. It fuels many of you as well, which is why you call the fan every day, which is why you tweet like maniacs every day, which is why you care the way that you do, all right? So now that I've laid out the positives and what I respect about that passion and that fuel, now you got to stop acting like a loser, all right? You've got to stop thinking like a loser. The old adage is, and Tiki, I know you heard this from coaches many times in your career, the old adage from coaches, 24-hour rule after a win.
Yep.
Right? We win the game, have a little fun, get back in the weight room, get your head straight, we're ready to go. And based on my reaction, and I was given that latitude as well because I'm getting it in real time. It's now almost 24 hours since we got the news. And if you don't, and I mean this, like, if you are not smart enough to understand that Joe Douglas did everything right by constructing a deal that, I don't know, Kansas City actually accepted without giving up your 4th and 10th pick, if you realize that he drove up the price for the Dolphins, if you realize that for the first time since early Tannenbaum, not even late, early to mid Tannenbaum, the Jets have a GM worth of a penny that knows what's going on. If you don't realize that, you're helpless at this point. You have to understand it's not the same old Jets, and I know that this won't be proven until they win games. I get that, and I'm not here to say they're going to win 9, 10. We'll find out. But the mentality, the thought process, all right, the acumen and the intelligence and the instincts in Florham Park are finally on par with that of a winning organization. Stop embarrassing yourself, Jet fans, with the dumb calls and the dumb tweets. Joe Douglas played it like a master.
Yeah, and it's Tyreek Hill. I know he's unbelievable. He is an all-pro. He is one of the best wide receivers in football right now. But here's how I look at it, BT. The Jets were in the conversation. When was the last time that the Jets were in the conversation for a guy like that? And I'm not talking because this is not the Jets drafting a great player and not developing him.
I hear you.
This is essentially.
You want to say Brett Favre, even though Brett was at the end? You want to give him that?
Yeah,
Do
maybe.
we give him that? Do we give him Brett?
Yeah, I'll give him Brett because
Okay.
Brett ended up having a good season.
Well,
here.
he played well until he hurt his shoulder.
That's right.
He's playing real well.
But think of the last time, because this is, even though it wasn't really free agency, because Tyreek Hill wasn't free, it kind of was quasi-free agency because Tyreek Hill was choosing where he wanted to go to. The Jets were in the conversation, and it's been a long time. You can go back to Brett Favre, BT, when a free agent, and I guess LaDainian Tomlinson was around there as well, a free agent looked at the Jets and said, I want to go to the New York Jets. And obviously it didn't work out, but that's not the point. The point is the Jets feel like they're heading in the right direction, and people outside of New York are also seeing that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, even if you don't believe me, you want to say, oh, you're too close to it. Oh, you're a Jets guy. Listen to everybody else as they diagnose this around the NFL world, including my partner. Now, listen, I'll throw some other names at you. Jermaine Johnson, desperation. Take our money. We suck. Help us. It didn't work out. Le'Veon Bell, take our money. We're going to overpay you. We suck. Help us. Even Darrelle Revis, and Darrelle was one of the best corners of all time, but we threw money at a disinterested and out of shape, and let's face it, a guy who had checked out.
Yes.
Because if you watch Darrelle Revis 2.0 with the Jets, he was ducking away from tackles. He was 15, not 15. He was 8-9 pounds overweight. Like Darrelle Revis had no interest in playing football. But we gave him money because we were desperate. There's got to be a line of delineation, and you've got to be innately intelligent enough. And also, you got to skew a little optimistic on this. I get you, because you've got to bury the demons of the past, and that's hard to do.
Yeah.
There's even Met fans out there, despite, the best pitcher in baseball, another guy who's top 3, top 4, but one of the best managers, like a payroll. I mean, even Met fans are somewhat, understandably, a little reluctant to go all in emotionally because of the scars that exist from previous teams, previous iterations. And the Jets are in the same boat. just like the Knicks in free agency, just like the Knicks we know the story. But guys, please, I'm imploring you. And at the end of the day, you do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But I am imploring you. Now that the 24-hour rule is just about over and we've got back down off the emotional distress and I didn't think we were going to talk about Tyreek Hill to the Jets yesterday. It was just dropped in the middle of a show. Guys, get a grip, chill, calm down, and realize that you got assets and you got a guy who's smart.
Yeah,
and that's
right.
the bottom line.
And you still have
I'm pumped for the Jets.
You still have your
really
fourth
am.
and your 10th pick. There's now a lot of noise about going and getting this marquee top-end wide receiver. We've been talking about this for a little bit, BT, but that's what the Jets need. Obviously, they need to shore up defensively, and they may go get Sauce Gardner, whoever else, edge rusher in this draft. But the Jets are clearly focused on getting a kick-ass top wide receiver. And I'm glad for that because I've been espousing that for a while. But I think it makes Zach Wilson it ramps up his development because when you have a star that's pushing the quarterback to be great, you're going to find out whether or not that it works or not. And you can get this in the draft. And I was talking to Drake London earlier this week. There's this another kid that I've been watching all morning, Christian Watson from North Dakota State. Nobody saw him play because he was in North Dakota State, but he went to the Senior Bowl and just ripped it apart. And now people are going back and looking at his game tape and his highlights, and it's like, man, this kid is a super athlete at 6'4" and 210 pounds, and I don't know how many touchdowns he had, but he's elite. Ran a 4.36 40 officially at the combine at 6'4", 210.
How the hell did he wind up at North Dakota State?
I don't know, BT, but the reason I bring him up is because the Jets could go Drake London, right? They could early. Or, as we've been talking about for a while, they could trade back. And this kid, who was projected to be a third or fourth rounder, has now moved into the bottom of the first, maybe second rounder. You could steal this kid. There's a lot that the Jets can do. Free agency is still open, or possible trades for guys on existing teams. But I think the Jets and Joe Douglas have their mind now set on going to get this kick-ass wide receiver, whether it's through the draft or with someone who's already been in the league for a little bit.
Jets are in good hands. I think that's what we're all saying here. By the way, we're inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. It's 10:15 here on the Fan, Tiki and Tierney Show, 877-337-6666. We'll bang in the calls, obviously. We'll get to the mandate, how it impacts the Nets and how it impacts the Yanks and the Mets. The mayor is going to speak at 11:30. By the way, did you see the picture that somebody sent Evan Hoff on social media? What I can't imagine was not the Tom Seaver statue being transported on a U-Haul?
Yeah, I know.
Was that it?
I hope it wasn't, just because I hate, maybe do a better job covering it. I mean, it looked like it was exposed. It looked.
Well, who else could it be?
I don't know. But yeah, it looks like the Seaver.
Didn't look photoshopped, and the thing that makes you think it's Seaver is that his knee was basically scraping against the ground, and he always had that dirt patch on his knee. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. But here's the thing, and we'll get these calls, okay? There are moves that certain teams make to placate starving fans, basically to shut us up.
Yeah.
All right? To throw us a little piece of red meat, and that would have been Le'Veon Bell, the Tremaine Johnson, all the names I mentioned, and all the other moves that other teams have made in the city, right? The difference with this Jet organization, not even team, it's beyond that, which is why I'm so excited about the future, organizationally, is that they have finally done it the right way. They're not done, but they've built up the talent base. They have added depth. There's not a glaring hole. For years we've said, you got 3 turnstiles on the offensive line. Not anymore. We can't find any pass-catching tight ends. Not anymore. The secondary was a disaster last year. 2 guys in their mid-20s that grade out pretty well on PFF. Not a problem anymore. I'm not saying they're studs, but those things have now been addressed, and now you can start attacking the things that get you to be that theoretically take you from being competent to being good. That's the difference. And if you can't see it, I got nothing else for you. Then you just lost. Then you just predisposed to being miserable.